Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology.
A very good day. This is Preetha Wilma Dawson, Assistant Professor, College of Physiotherapy, Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology, deemed to be a university. In previous videos, we have covered about the neuron, structure, function, and following that, in this video, we will be discussing about the classification of neuron. So, we all know that neuron is going to be the basic structural and functional unit of the nervous system. So, neurons are majorly classified into three categories. The first one, depending upon the number of poles. Second one is going to be depending upon the functions. Third one will be depending upon the length of axon. So, first, let's get started with depending upon the number of poles. So, in terms of polarity, that is in terms of number of poles, the neurons can be divided into three types. The first type will be unipolar, bipolar and multipolar neurons. So, first let's start with unipolar neurons. So, these are the neurons that possesses only one pole which is attached to the soma. So, soma is going to be the cell body of the neuron. Both the axons and the dendrites will be arising from that pole. These types of neurons are present in the embryonic stage of human being. So, what is embryonic stage? So, this embryonic stage is going to be starting from the second week of pregnancy till the 8th week of pregnancy. So, that phase of development is going to be embryonic stage. So, these type of neurons will be present only during the embryonic stage. So, here you have a picture representation on the unipolar neurons. Here you can see the cell body. Next, we will start with bipolar neurons. These are the neurons which possesses two poles. So, one pole gives a rise to the axons and the other pole will give a rise to the dendrites. So, these type of neurons are present in the retinal bipolar cells. So, here you have a picture representation. So, one pole is giving rise to the dendrite and the other pole is giving rise to the axon. So, next one is going to be multipolar neurons. So, multipolar neurons are the neurons which possesses many poles. So, one pole will be giving rise to the axons, whereas the other poles will be giving rise to the dendrites. So, here you have a picture representation of a multipolar neuron. Next, we will discuss about the second category. The second category is depending upon the function. So, based on the functions, the neurons are divided into two major things. One is going to be the motor, which is also known as efferent neurons, and the other one is going to be sensory, which is also known as efferent neurons. So, these efferent neurons are the neurons which is carrying impulses from the higher centers, that is from the CNS, they will be carrying information to the peripheral effector organ. So, what is peripheral effector organ? It can be a muscle. So, the motor neurons will be having long axons and very short dendrites. So, now let's discuss about sensory or afferent neurons. So, these neurons, these afferent neurons will be carrying sensory information from the periphery and they will be reaching to the central nervous system. So, the sensory neurons have short axons and long dendrites. So, here you have a picture representation where the sensory neuron is compared to a motor neuron. So, the third category will be depending upon the length of the axon. Depending upon the length of the axon, we can divide the neuron into two categories. The first one will be Golgi type 1 neuron and the second one will be Golgi type 2 neuron. So, Golgi type 1 neuron. So, this type of neuron have long axons. So, the cell body of the Golgi type 1 axons will be present in different parts of the central nervous system and their axons will be reaching the remote peripheral organs. So, next one is going to be Golgi type 2 neurons. This Golgi type 2 neurons will be having very short axons. These neurons will be majorly present in the cerebral cortex and the spinal cord. So, now we will have a quick recap for this video. So, in the introduction, we discussed about what is neuron. So, neuron is going to be a basic structural and functional unit of the nervous system. In the previous video, we have discussed detailedly about the structure and the functions of neuron. So, the neurons are divided into three major categories. First category is going to be depending upon the number of poles. Depending upon the number of poles, the neuron is further divided into three subtypes. First one is going to be a unipolar, bipolar and multipolar. Next category is going to be depending upon the function. So based on the functions, the neurons were further classified into two major divisions. One is going to be your motor and sensory neuron. Next one is going to be depending upon the length of the axon. Depending upon the length of the axon, it was further classified into two types. One is going to be Golgi type 1 neuron and the other one is going to be Golgi type 2 neuron. So with this, we have come to the end of this video. Thank you.